watercolor, don't tell me that you like graphic design. I need to see that in your portfolio. If you can draw, if you can do watercolor, if you're a great graphic designer, your portfolio needs to be indicative of that. Um, it's much better to show than it is to say. Also, you need to remember that this is your brand identity, right? Your portfolio package needs to look like a corporate brand identity package. So, your resume, your actual portfolio, everything that you're producing needs to look like it was done by the same person and like it all goes together. That means your fonts need to be the same. You also need to limit your fonts. There doesn't need to be 50,000 different fonts. You need to check your spelling, check your grammar, check everything, check it twice, have someone else check it for you. This needs to be like a perfect package because this is, 12 pages, 10 minutes. This is all the time that you might have to get a job. So you need to make every second count. Refine, refine, refine. Every time you learn a new skill, you need to go back over your old work and update it to reflect that new skill. The best portfolios that I've seen are from students who, if they did something in AutoCAD and then they learned Revit, they went back and put that plan into Revit. If they didn't know how to render, they went back and re-rendered an old project when they learned how to render. If they learned how to watercolor, they then went back and watercolored it. Like they kept refining and improving everything that they're presenting. So that is key. Always go back and redo things. Negative space is okay. I think a lot of times people feel like they need to fill the entire page with information, fill the entire page with pictures. You don't. You can have a page that just has a single image, that just has a line of text. Negative space is fine. It gives the viewer a chance to kind of relax their mind and also focus on what it is that you want them to see rather than trying to take in a whole bunch of information at the same time. And lastly, bring your best, nothing less. So just because you have 20 projects, just because you built this model in first year and it was great in first year, just because you did a sketch in high school, we don't necessarily need to see that. You need to take a look at your portfolio every year, every time you get ready to present it, and decide if everything that's in there needs to be in there. You want everything that you present to be strong, and you need to edit yourself constantly. That goes along with refining. Just continually edit yourself, continually push to get better. Any questions so far? Okay.
To piggyback off what you said about the brand identity, to kind of elaborate. So, me as a Tuskegee grad, I'm coming to interview you. I look at your portfolio. I might think you're awesome based on our conversation, but it's someone higher up than me that I'm reporting back to. I'm giving them my notes, and then they're evaluating you. They don't get to talk to you. So, your items that you present to us have to speak for themselves. I could brag about you all day, but I don't necessarily sit in the room where that final decision is being made.
Totally. And that also, even more like, you have to be professional as well. Like when because we're not the ones necessarily making the hiring decisions, we're just kind of your liaison, the go between. And so, like I always tell students when I come and review portfolios, when you look good, I look good, right? So I want any critiques that we may give you, any advice that we may give, it's because my resume says Tuskegee University on it just like yours does. So we want all of us to look good together. So any critiques that you may get in this session are for our benefit just as much as yours. We want you to look as good as possible. Okay, let's see here. I feel like I've met Derek before. I think I met Derek a couple times. Derek is muted though.
You have. I told
Yeah.
him he better be on here.
I feel like I remember meeting him when I was on campus, like at least twice. Okay, so let's get into some portfolios. Who wants to go first? Tyler, Joshua?
I'll leave from the front and go first.
Okie dokie, let's do it.
Professional also, I just sent you my portfolio. Could you share it for me? I'm kind of on the move.
Josh, you sent it in my email?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, give me 1 second. I cannot minimize Zoom while I'm recording.
Oh.
Good signs. All right, let me pause recording. Let's see if that works.
Good grief.
Shiza.
Cam, just a heads up. So we're gonna do some like group critiques and look at a couple students overall, and then we are going to. Okay, I lost you for a second. Then we're gonna do breakout rooms if there's time.
It works. I'm pulling into the house now, so I'll be back in front of my computer within the next 5 minutes.
Perfect.
All right, let me see how I can maneuver this because it's not allowing me to minimize the screen. Da-da-dun, da-da-dun. All right, give me 1 second. Joshua Gordon, Portfolio 2021. Is this a PDF file, Mr. Gordon?
Yep.
Okay. Oh, we snazzed it up, I see. It's been a while. Okay. Let's see where we're at. I'm going to open this in, should I open it in Photoshop or InDesign?
Can you open it as a PDF?
We gonna see.
What's the email?
Joshua.
In the meantime, does anybody have any questions, or is anybody in a position where they can share their screen now?
I can share my screen now, if that's okay.
Sounds good.
Let me mute myself and then Tyler, you go.
Is it showing?
Yep.
We see it.
It won't fit the whole thing on the screen. Wait, hold on.
Yeah, do your.
Oh. Okay.
And you can set it to fit one full page too. Yeah, one full page. Boom.
I saved it in spreads, so.
Oh no, it's good. So go back to your full screen mode. I think you can just hit F11.
Oh.
Okay. Scroll down for us.
I haven't put my headshot in because I'm gonna go get one Sunday. So.
Okay. I think I was just having a discussion with someone the other day about whether or not having a photograph of yourself is appropriate or necessary.
Mm-hmm.
And we leaned on the side of not wanting to include anything that would give a person cause to discriminate against you, whether it's based on your age, your race, your sex, your sexual orientation, anything that can be kind of perceived via a photograph.
Mhm.
But, up to you. Cam, what are your thoughts on photographs in portfolios and resumes?
I would say the same. While for presentation purposes, I would say it's good, but in the aspects of the companies that we're working for, um, right now, getting the Black kids in is the hot thing to do. And this is, I'm not a Beck employee right now. I'm a Tuskegee graduate. They're looking right now, and now is a great opportunity for you guys because of the social climate that we're living in. But for a typical day, I would say leave photographs off, addresses off, portfolios and resumes, GPAs if it's not above a 3.6. So things like that, I would say leave off of resumes and portfolios. Just
Yes, ma'am.
be as across the board. How do you not say blend in, but if we're presenting this to somebody else, so your projects might speak to who you are, and we might have a conversation about that. But if I were to hand this portfolio to somebody else, other than the fact that it says Tuskegee and they can make an assumption that you're Black because you go there, I would across leave a picture off too.
Yeah. And I mean, it also might just be like, maybe they don't like, maybe you're not good at picking pictures of yourself. Who knows? There's so many things that could kind of go wrong there. I'd err on the side of letting your work speak for itself, but that's just me.
Yes, ma'am.
You sound so like it's been a long day. Has it been a long day for you, Tyler?
Oh no, ma'am. I had just woke up.
Okay, there. That's it. I'm like,
He sounds
you was
like
out.
that all the time.
You were out last
So,
night. You were at the Soul last night. You were turning up. You're partying.
Oh no, ma'am.
Do people still go to the Soul Inn? Is that still a thing?
I mean, COVID, but
I'm about to
I
say, but
don't
COVID.
know.
I don't know if y'all have recognized that these kids are acting like we are not in a panini right now. They are out and about.
I don't know. I can't interact with my students on that level, but I know during the homecoming times, they was definitely out here in these streets.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So yeah. Um, this is a lot of words. Like I'm gonna give you what I would give like if I was really looking over your portfolio and I wasn't sitting here with you. I would be like, this is a lot of words and I'm not reading that right now. Next page.
Yes, ma'am.
So
Is this a full page or is this a fold? Do we fold this in the center or is this one
It's
page and it's 11 by 17?
it's folded in the center.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. So would you advise me to like just shorten it or just saying it's just gonna get skipped anyway? So it's
I think you can say good things in there. Also, you need to turn off your I can't think of the hyphenation. That's like a box that you can check so that you don't have your words hyphenated so that the whole word is on one line. In general, throughout your portfolios. But I mean, I think you can leave it if somebody wants to go back to it, great, but just understand that ain't nobody reading that
yes,
when they're
ma'am.
reviewing a portfolio quickly. And make sure it's good stuff in there and spell check,
Yeah,
do all of the
that's,
things.
Yes,
that's what I
ma'am.
was going to ask you. So what exactly, and I'm kind of sort of reading it, what is your purpose of doing that? Is it possible that you can maybe bullet point it so I can look at it and get a quick, okay, so he's talking about self here, he's talking about his interests here, he's talking about what exactly are you trying to convey with this paragraph?
I was just explaining why I like to design and why I'm in this profession. Kind of
Gotcha.
give me insight into myself.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Next page.
Yeah, I'm gonna go next. Go back to the top for me. I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay, so right here.
Uh-huh.
Or FOL. Okay.
Check this
So
spelling.
yeah. That and like because we have this really linear kind of format happening, you need to I'm pointing with my mouse right now. Oh, this is Zoom. I can draw. Where's my annotation? Where's my annotation tool? But you need to, I can't think of what it's called. Like where it's 1 point perspective or 2 point perspective
He
or.
needs to align all of his lines with the vertical boxes because right now
Yeah.
it's skewed.
Yes, that. Thank you. And I'm trying to remember what that is
Your
called.
perspective points, I suppose.
Yeah.
Your viewpoints, you need to align them so that they are parallel to the boxes that they're in. Because geez, the annotation tool.
I'm gonna tell you the word in a minute. I'm opening up.
It's awesome. Wall.
Yes, sir.
Can you record this? Because I can't see exactly if y'all drawing on it.
I'm
Oh
recording.
no, I'm not drawing on it. Camera. Okay, so you can do like in SketchUp, for example, you can do something in parallel projection perspective or 2 point perspective. You need to make it 2 point perspective so that all of your vertical lines, your up and down lines are truly going up and down and not skewing off to the side. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
And I don't know where my toolbar is, so I can't annotate.
When you go down to the bottom of your screen, a toolbar doesn't pop up.
No, ma'am.
I feel like when you're on YouTube or when you're live streaming, it takes that tool away.
Oh,
That
my
might be
bad.
because I'm like, it's usually right here and I don't have it.
You can
No
request
worries.
remote control, and that'll allow you to do things on his thing.
Nah, it's fine. I mean, I would just be pointing, but yeah, just straight up and down. Anyways, next, continue.
Oh, and another thing, Tyler,
Yes, ma'am.
I feel like some of your images, I don't know if the proportions are stretched, but go down to the next page because I feel like it's not. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you didn't, when you adjusted the size of your images, you didn't hold the shift key or you did hold the shift key. And so now the proportions, the aspect ratio of the original image is different than this. So it's like just little tweaks like that really make a big difference visually. And
Keila, can you let me in on my computer, please? Thank you.
And people are going to pay attention to that. Let's keep scrolling down. Same thing again with having the hyphenation on your paragraphs.
Sure.
Yeah, and so again with this one, like if all of the images are like skewed. Now, if that's a thing, if that's a part of your aesthetic, cool. But if it's not, then it's just kind of off-putting and everything you need to tweak all of these just a little bit. Quick Photoshop, you can do that in 20 minutes.
I think this is what I was trying to point out to y'all yesterday in class, that when you have diagrams that are all showing the same view, everything, all of the lines need to be going in the same direction and everything needs to be at the same orientation.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that 2 point perspective is key. Super key. Okay, keep going. But otherwise, I love the simplicity of the graphics. Climactic data views. I think we have our same aspect ratio issues here. And then I'd like to know how this image relates to what we're looking at on the left, because the image on the right doesn't feel like it's relating to what we're looking at on the left, right? So everything that you're showing us needs to be like super purposeful and super well thought out. Like if that image is a really strong image, that image can be a standalone image on its own page, right? Maybe with a paragraph of text. And then you can also correct the aspect ratio of it. And if these diagrams are really important, then these diagrams can maybe be standalone, or if they relate to diagrams on the page above, like figure out a way to edit that so that it all makes sense. Because we just need to give people bite-sized chunks that quickly allow them to get in and out of your projects and that are like really appealing and make people want to find out more.
Sure.
Let's keep going. Yeah, like to me, I feel like that push pull and the rotation graphic that you had on the other page, on the previous page, talks more to these images that you have on the left, I mean on the right here.
Sure.
So like it might just be rearranging things so that it's like, here's the connection, and that it's really clear with like a little blurb, just quick paragraph, in and out. And I'm enjoying how heavily saturated your images are. If that's intentional, that's fun. Because I am a desaturated, lots of white space, soft tones kind of girl. So I'm enjoying the heavy saturation. But again, this aspect ratio, we gotta make sure that the images look exactly how you want them to look, exactly how they looked when you exported them, because someone's going to be distracted by like, is that supposed to be stretched like that?
Man,
Mhm.
the image on the left,
Yes.
I think I brought it in a little bit to fit it in, so I can just fix that.
Yeah. So, golly, now I'm about to open. Did you do this in InDesign?
Yes, ma'am.
So, when you're filling your frames, you want to fill frame proportionally,
Hmm.
and don't just like stretch to fit or whatever. Don't fill frame. Make sure you're always filling frame proportionally so that you're not losing your aspect ratios. I think that's your
Yes,
issue.
ma'am.
I really
And
love what you did with your study models here, Tyler. On the right-hand side.
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, I love the colors. I love the models. I want to see those models next to those diagrams real bad.
Yes, ma'am. Next page, or we want to stay
Yeah,
here?
we can keep going.
So Alana, are you saying that he should flip the diagram page take the diagram page and pair it with the colored modeled page?
I think let's scroll back up real fast. Although I like these. Up one more. So I think that this model, these diagrams to the left, speak to the study models on the next page on the right. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am. They can. I was kind of going here for was this rotate, or where it talks about rotating, and it kind of spoke to this whole porch because that space, that red space, there is this space on the right.
Okay. So if that's the case, you need to figure out a way to better communicate that. And
Mhm.
that if that's the connection that you're wanting to show, that might mean showing a rendering more from the exterior, or indicating it somehow graphically, overlaying graphics on this image so that we understand that, because it just looks like a corridor. Like we have no way of knowing that this corridor is that red space.
Yes, ma'am.
I think that most architects in general are picture people, right? Like we're very graphic, we're very visual, and we're going to take something in really quickly and keep moving when you're reviewing portfolios. So you want to keep that in mind and make sure that like the connections are unmistakable, like kind of spoon feed it to us
Yes,
so
ma'am.
that we can graphically see what you're saying super fast. But again, I love the colors and the saturation of all your images. I think it's super fun. I like how the colors in your diagrams play with the colors in your renderings. Love it. I just want those aspect ratios tweaked. But other than that, I love it. Let's go back down here. I'm enjoying the elevations. I love the plans graphically. You might want to give a little bit of like actual ground and a little bit of sky maybe to the elevation so they're not so much floating in space. Just a hint
Yes,
maybe,
ma'am.
but I'm enjoying those. What program did you use to create all of your renderings and your elevations?
Lumion and SketchUp, and I use a little bit of Revit and AutoCAD. It was kind of,
So your resume is in here somewhere too, right?
it's at the back. At
Okay.
the, I think I might need to put it in the front though.
Possibly. Cam, what do you think? Resume front, resume back?
I would say let me get a feel for the rest of the portfolio, and then I will be able to give a yay or nay, resume front or back. I don't think there's a one size fits all answer for that one.
Right. Okay, let's keep going. Okay. How many pages is your portfolio total?
I am. I think around 48. It's a
Okay.
lot.
Yeah. So, well, and then cut that in half because I'm sure you're counting left page, right page, right?
Yeah, so it'll be around 20 to 22 years.
I think in general, what everybody needs to keep in mind as they're presenting their portfolios is the format that it's more than likely going to be presented in. And for all of us now, that's pretty much virtual screen share, emailing a PDF. So even though you've designed it as an 11 by 17 that's intended to be folded, unless you have it set up in something like Issue or whatever, where you get that virtual page fold feeling, you should design it as it's going to be viewed.
Okay. Yes,
You know
ma'am.
what I mean?
Because it's something I had realized as well when I actually put it in a PDF, but it was kind of feel like it was too late before to change it before this.
No, yeah, and it's not a problem. It's just something that's more for everyone to be mindful of.
Mhm.
9 times out of 10 nowadays, we're looking at this as a PDF on a shared screen, and so that's how you should create it with that in mind. I think the your section here, like so you have this plan view, and we need to work on like line weights and saturation of things so that I can tell what's a building, what's the ground. Because it's not really reading right now. Like I can't tell what's what.
So you would say like the color the ground.
Yeah, like maybe desaturate the ground a little bit, maybe bump up the line weight on the building that we're supposed to be focused on. Um, just work on making it read so that we know that this is the building that we're looking at a section of. And maybe it's like adding shadow around the building, something, because it's all just kind of reading flat.
Yes, ma'am.
And remind me, what year are you in?
Third year.
Okay, all right, okay. Well, for third year, I feel like this is pretty awesome. I'll say that for sure.
Thank you.
He's a very good student.
Well, if Alma says you're a good student, then I mean, there's really no better no better, review. There's no source that I trust more. I think this page is cool. I think in general, you really, like I said, you want to show your strongest. And so we're how many pages in?
It would be around 48.
No, like right now, what page are we on? We're like
Well,
6 or 7 pages in.
Oh,
16,
17.
17.
Yeah, so that's a lot of pages to still be looking at the same project.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the images are kind of saying the same things. Like I'm not learning any more about your skills or what you bring to the table yet, because it's less about telling me everything about a project and more about showing me what you can do and that you can do it well. So I would consider going through and being very strategic about what you show and how you show it here.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Unless you want your portfolio to be a portfolio where it's like this is just one project and it's a really strong project.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's another way, like it's one project, it's really strong and it shows a lot of my skills across the board. That's another way to kind of address it.
Yes, ma'am.
But let's go.
Yeah, this reads to me very heavily like you're presenting it for end of year presentation.
Mhm.
Everything that is required for your project does not have to be in here.
Okay.
And so my usual personal rule of thumb is usually a floor plan, a section, some type of rendering of it.
Mhm,
And then I
mhm.
really like this page that we're looking at. It gives me a lot of information. It tells me you're utilizing natural ventilation. You thought about the materials that you're being used. You're thinking about the solar, what am I thinking? Your lead, the rain garden, your solar panels. So you're taking into account other things.
Mhm.
Yes, ma'am.
I second what she said. Again, it's all about selling an image quickly, visually, getting to the good stuff
Okay.
as quickly as possible. Let's go on to the next slide. Yeah, because I think some of your other renderings before were stronger for sure,
Mhm.
more impactful. So yeah, again, just carefully consider what it is that you want to show and where and why and how.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We're going up a hill. I see what's happening. Okay, let's keep going. I might turn down the saturation of the overall site plan just so that you can see the building a little bit more clearly. Wait, go back up. Where is this map from? Oh, is this just like a screenshot of Google? Because I see like there's something with a W. There's like some little circles happening. Is it just from like Google Maps or something?
Uh,
Say that again.
So looking at this page, go ahead, sir.
I was saying yes, ma'am.
I like this page, and correct me if you feel another way, Alana. We're about to look at the floor plans on the next page. What's stopping you from putting them as an overlay on the left hand side of this page over the Wilcoxes?
I didn't even think about something like that. Thank you.
Also, I feel like right now The building is ever so slightly, maybe it's not, but I feel like the building is ever so slightly like not squared, like it's tilted. And since your north arrow already isn't north, if you're gonna get that close to squaring up the building, just go ahead and square it up so that the plan is oriented so that the axes of this floor plan are like straight up and down and left and right on the page.
Mm-hmm.
And then adjust your north arrow accordingly.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
But that's just like nitpick taking time to look at stuff.
What's the significance of the symbols on the left-hand side? I can read, but I'm not. So if you were walking me through your portfolio in an interview, what is the significance of those two symbols I see?
So like with this project, I was trying to integrate West African culture into and combine it with Tuskegee culture as well. I know a lot of our students are, African American, or so I wanted to kind of bring that heritage or where we came from into a building on campus. So this is a library. So when I was studying, when I was researching, I looked up these two symbols that are the first one, the one on top here, is it means to he who does not know can learn from learning. And I thought that was the perfect representation of what a library should be. So what I did was I took it and I created a metal facade that encompasses the building. Well, you can see in the next picture, I believe, how I use that. But the light, when it comes in, it'll shine through that metal facade and create a pattern on the inside. And it also allows it better daylighting options as well. And the second one is, I do not know how to pronounce it, but it stands for wisdom. And that's how I organize my spaces. I put or where you can see, you'll also see in a better picture, but it's a centralized stair. The stair is like a sitting stair. People can sit there,
Mm-hmm.
and it takes you to the next level. And I use that as an atrium space, and all the spaces, kind of, I guess, are spatialized around it, because the symbol also remind me, resembled central spatial organization. So that's what I use to organize my spaces as well.
So, okay, let's go to the next slide real quick, and then we're gonna come back. Okay, so then we go to a section. Okay, let's go back. Let's go to the next slide, sorry. So on this page, I can read the symbols, but on that previous diagram, I could not read the symbols in the elevation.
Yes, ma'am.
So whatever you've done here, you might just want to copy paste and plop it up there. Continue. Let's just go real quickly through and then come back. Again, we've got our orientation, our perspective is ever so slightly shifted. And my gosh, that sky is gloomy.
Yeah, I try to get a better picture, but it's been raining a lot here.
Did you?
Yeah.
So you superimpose this on a actual picture of your site?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah. Photoshop is key. I have photoshopped many a cloud out of an image. Let's
You also, real quick, you also want to look at your shadows, because you don't have any shadow on the ground. It becomes a little less believable. That's a quick drop into Photoshop and change the add a shadow to around where the building was.
Yes, sir. Keep going. Or
Yeah, you can keep going, and then we'll come back. That's interesting. Okay, keep going. Keep going. Okay, so let's go back. So I think that this is another example of like wanting to pick your strongest imagery and present that, and then just kind of like not presenting other things, right? So sort of making a decision as to what images are saying the most important things about your project, and taking those images and really refining them, right? Like you can spend, if you only have 3 renderings, you can spend, you know, 2 hours photoshopping each of them, whereas if you have 12 renderings, you're only going to have like 15 minutes to Photoshop each of them. You know what I mean?
yes,
Like
ma'am.
allocating your time to making 3 or 4 of these, maybe it's just 3, maybe it's just 2, but like allocating your time to making a couple of these images really pop, and adding some more entourage, adding like really editing them and getting them to show really really clearly what you want them to say. Because a lot of this isn't saying a lot yet, but I think
And
it can.
Mr. Littles, don't be afraid to do a full page like
Of one
shot.
image. Yeah.
This in the lower right-hand corner could be very dynamic if it's
Mm-hmm.
full page. Please use this. Get rid of the
Yeah.
other two.
Yes.
And I know you're a fan of negative space, but that doesn't mean that you can't interchange the negative space with positive space and just fill up a whole page with a very dynamic image that draws whoever's looking in. Because now I'm interested in the project. Like this could have been your first shot, and I've been like, "Ooh, this looks interesting. Let me learn more about
I would
this
like to
building."
know more. Yeah, for sure.
Well, you talking about the one at the patio, right? Or
See, senor, see.
yes, ma'am.
And by the way, so that language that the Indingo symbols are in, that's my native language. So we need to go over the pronunciation of those symbols for you.
Yes, ma'am.
That's a thing you
Also,
should
yeah.
know.
Also, I think that symbology, right? If you scroll back up. So this page is great. I love what you're saying here. I think because of how prominent that symbology is throughout your project, it might be worthwhile to have these 2 symbols, like these get their own page, right? So where you're explaining the symbols, explaining what they mean and how they're used, like absent the floor plans, like if you did what Cam was saying and you put these floor plans up with the site plan, and then you give these symbols their own page, and then have the diagrams explaining like how the symbols are used in throughout the space, just so that it's like clearly these symbols are a project driver and this is how you've employed them. And then yeah, focus on really making, I'd say 2 at most 3 of these renderings pop. And when I say pop, I mean they need to pop. Like, for example, when we're doing a space, we're only doing 1 rendering of, like if we're doing a hotel, you're getting 1 rendering of a guest room, you're getting 1 rendering of a lobby, you're getting a rendering, like 1 rendering per space, and that rendering is going to pop. And actually, we'll do a series of white box renderings for all of the other spaces, and maybe you'll only get a full color rendering for the lobby, Right. So it's really about allocating your time and energy and making things purposeful.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let's keep going.
Professor Daniels and Professor Amma,
It's
what would
Doctor.
you
It's Dr.
recommend?
Daniels. It's Dr.
Dr. Daniels,
Daniels.
I apologize. Dr.
Mhm.
Daniels. If you were, or Alana, how many pages would you allocate per project if you had to pick?
Personally, I would think like 3 or 4 at the most.
Okay.
At the most. And some of those are going to be one image. And I want these to say different things because, like, this project hasn't told me anything about you or your skill set that the other project didn't also say.
Do these boxes light up, Tyler?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Is there an image that shows them in the evening time?
Yes, ma'am.
Can we go there? I just want to see if it's. Yeah. Yeah, we can start there.
Mm-hmm. Maybe add some warm glowies to the interior windows.
Yes. Do you know what she's talking about by warm, like add some lights to, can you see my cursor? I don't know.
No, we can't.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Oh, like there, like it's lights on inside the building.
Yeah,
Yes.
and not all of them, just a couple, 2 or 3 lit up. Somebody's inside. Let me find this. Where is it? Oh, there it is.
And so when you were thinking about this particular space being used in the evening, were you expecting people to be there? Because I don't see any people in this image.
Yes, ma'am. I have to add people. I was still working on it. I was just trying to have something that I could show. And I also have a few pictures of it being used that night, but I haven't finished them yet.
Well, let's Miss Hosey is going over what she's pointing out is very important about allocating your time correctly.
Yes, ma'am.
So if we're saying this is a dynamic image, you just need to add people and some glowies, then let's focus on getting this image to where it needs to be rather than trying to finish other stuff. And you know what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am.
Cool.
All right, let's keep going.
I believe that's it. Well, besides, that's my release
Oh
line.
yeah, and then your resume.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's look at that real fast. I would take out the proficient in front of AutoCAD, InDesign, blah, 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 blah. I would put Revit on top.
Okay.
And you said you use Lumion and whatever else. So put Lumion on there. Historic preservation.
Any leadership positions, Tyler?
No, ma'am.
Activities outside of architecture?
I think I've just labeled it an experience.
Hmm?
Oh, that's what I have put in experience. Most of these
I'm saying outside of architecture. Are you in any clubs? Are you in NOMA? Are you in AIA?
I'm in
Anything like
NOMA.
that?
Yes, ma'am.
Um,
Yeah, I would
let me, yeah.
add that
I'll,
for sure.
you can list it maybe as involvement. I need to see a well-rounded picture. What do you do besides architecture?
Yeah. And again, here with the hyphenation, you want to turn off hyphenation in general as a rule for all. Other than that, not a bad resume.
And this isn't so much for now, but once you start looking for jobs, I would say take the address off because you want to be able to be
Hmm.
versatile. They can get
Hmm.
to you via email or your phone. A phone number is not going to give because I have definitely seen where, or myself personally, I was looking for a job in Dallas and
Hmm.
companies were not willing to hire me because I was not living in Dallas at that point in time. Took my address off of it, the floodgates opened. I didn't have to tell them where I currently lived. So as of right now, just for internships, it's fine. But once you start getting ready to really get into the industry, and I would say take that address off.
Yes, ma'am.
I would say take it off now, honestly.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Because like if I am depending on I would assume that the places that you'll be applying for internships are places that you'd be willing to live, like to go to. So yeah, I would take that off personally already.
So based on comments or feedback, do you have any questions for us?
Uh, I guess, I mean, it gave me really good feedback. So thank you for that. Um, 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 what do
Tyler,
you,
we need to really work on your conversational stuffs.
yeah.
He just woke up, Mama. He just
No,
woke
this
up.
Alana, this is him all the time. I call him Quiet Storm simply because he's so quiet, and then he'll show up with goo gobs of work that looks great, but is hesitant to explain what's going on. So any tips on that and expressing yourself and advocating for your work verbally?
I think I think personally confidence is key. But there's nothing wrong with being quiet, but having a super strong portfolio, right? Like I think it's ironic to me that your portfolio uses a lot of like loud, bright, intense, saturated color. And then your personality is kind of like, yeah, so, I have this thing here and blah, blah, blah. Like, I think it's interesting when people's personalities reflect their portfolios a little bit. And so seeing your portfolio being super intense and bright, and it makes me wonder what you're hiding personality wise. So don't be afraid to like have a little fun, let it out. I like before a big presentation, I'm generally up all night the night before, and then I have to take like 3 espressos so that I can function. So it's like that balance of sleepy and super energized that gets me to a good place because I don't know. You gotta find your energy somewhere because nobody wants to hire Eeyore.
She does it very well though, like has been since we were in undergrad. Heavily.
Lots of 5 hour in it because in school I didn't really drink coffee. How did I stay awake? Lord
Girl,
knows.
I don't know. Snacks and music.
Yeah, for sure. That first Beyonce album was key.
Yes,
Was
it
key.
was. Oh,
Okay, Tyler, anybody else? Does anybody have any questions based on what we talked to Tyler about? Kadir, Michael, Journey, Joshua, iPhone?
Is this just questions in general?
Yeah.
Okay, so I already asked like Austin on this yesterday, but so like I don't have, like the CAD like computer experience stuff yet. So I mainly have like hand drawn and models.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been trying to work. I don't have a portfolio to show. I really wish I did, but
Mm-hmm.
I've been trying to think of a way to make that look strong, and I've just been struggling. So I don't know if y'all have any advice of that.
So if you can draw and if you have models, you can use a scanner and a camera and still format that in a way that's visually appealing. Um, and that, gets a point across and tells a story. And I think actually that's just as valuable as having computer skills. There are people that work at my firm right now. There's a guy whose job was solely to do hand renderings. Like, that's it. That's all he ever did was hand renderings because he was really good at it. And so if your hand skills, if your modeling skills, if any of those skills are particularly strong, especially in a large firm, or a firm that focuses on design, those skills are just as valuable or can be just as valuable as the ability to put together a set of construction documents in Revit. But also nobody's expecting a second year student to put together a set of construction documents. So
Yeah.
showcasing your other skills is probably going to be just as valuable as, showcasing that you know how computers work.
And I
Okay.
haven't had Mike in studio yet, but I remember your models were pretty dope last semester. So that was just me walking through first year studio and saying, who did this? And then him going me. And I was like, oh, okay. So I don't see what the
I'm
problem
literally at the
is.
studio right now. I have all my models. So I'm about to,
Yeah.
the whole day is going to pictures right now.
Yeah, go ahead and go just blow a little steam on your iPhone camera and wipe that guy off and get to snapping the photos.
Okay, thank you.
Can I share real quick? I'm gonna share. So it's funny you say that. Last year, I think, when I was there, I was interviewing actually in Mr. Daniels' office, and sitting on his shelf, Mr. Daniels, or Dr. Daniels, was my first year studio professor. And sitting on his desk was my first year portfolio. I don't know if you all can see this.
Yeah.
And so basically,
Did you steal it back, Kim?
I asked him. I asked. But basically like Alana just said, so my first project, I did vellum. I did a sheet of vellum for my explanation. And then behind it, and it gave my objective explanation for the project. And then behind it, I took photos and then had pictures of my model. And I did that basically for I did 2 projects. So I have in here, let's see, I have 3 projects and renderings and then my resume. So something as simple as this, and it's renderings and then scans of, because we weren't allowed to use computers freshman year. Mm-hmm. So it's scans of my hand drawings. And then some renderings, scans of my renderings.
I love the format of that.
And then my resume is on the last page.
Look at Cam. Right, that's good.
So
I wasn't in your class, so I don't know what you're capable of, but it's okay. Nice.
So literally something simple as a black and white, and I did this with some core board, and that was my first year portfolio. So y'all got a lot more leg up because y'all got computers and programming that we were not allowed to use.
Okay.
Anybody else? Joshua, are you in a position to share your screen yet? Journey, do you want to share?
Journey should share. I'm in a position to share Joshua's stuff. Just give me un momento, por favor.
I'm still working on my resume right now. So,
are you going to be ready by what day is that? Tuesday, Monday? Oh, it's Monday, girl.
Yes, I'll be done by tonight.
Okay. Well, we both put our we both put our emails in the chat. So if you want some feedback, just send it for me, my personal, because I don't check my work during the weekend. And I would love to give some feedback.
Anybody, like Journey, if you have even if you're in progress, I would say grab whatever you feel is your top images or whatever, and get feedback now, because this type of feedback is invaluable, and can really guide you as you continue to develop and finalize your work.
All right, can we see? Everybody can see my screen?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. My son just woke up. I'm sorry. So this is my portfolio. So one thing that I want to go for, I think last semester I had a conversation with Mr. Daniels about, having a portfolio that's small and can be easily handed to somebody. So the size that I went with was based off a sketchbook that I got from the company that I interned for. So it's a 8x5, and it's really small, and it reminds me of a sketchbook, which is also, something I like to do, is sketch. So that's the key behind the size of the design. As far as like the graphics go, I'm also a graphic designer, and I've been doing that a lot. So I want to kind of incorporate that into the cover. Hey, are we gonna critique each page, or are we gonna just wait till the end?
You just tell me what you want me to do. I'm just scrolling.
I'm talking about the critiquers.
Oh, okay.
So this is what was a blank page? Is that what? I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Continue.
So I've been looking at a lot of Virgil Abloh, and he kind of inspired me. So that's kind of where that comes from. It's like an off-white type thing. But there's my contact info. Very simple.
A quick question: is that literally going to say blank? Like, if I were to print this out, would that literally say blank page, or is that just your placeholder?
No, it would literally say blank page.
Okay.
It's kind of the theme I'm going for. All right.
So the line that's after contents, is that a part of the theme?
Yes. As you can see, it's like a curve thing. It's based off the top of. If you go back to the cover, you'll see that curve.
Oh, I saw it.
Yeah, that's what that based off of.
Okay.
All right, so it'll open up and you'll see the name of the project on the left, and on the right side you'll see the imagery. So here you can see the top view of this project, and this project I did on my own. It wasn't a studio project or anything. I just wanted to redesign my house on the land that my house is on. Mm-hmm. So I kind of sort of tried to just show pictures with my portfolio, because I know when you have like a stack of portfolios, nobody's really looking to read a lot of stuff. So they just want to see basic things, floor plans, sections, elevations, da. So I kind of sort of try to make it, to the point. So there you can see the house. I think I may go back and maybe label the rooms. That's one thing I'm looking at, but it would be kind of small. Yeah. Now I'm looking at it.
Keep going. I mean, if since it's a house, you can throw house things in there and people will be able to figure out that it's a house, right? So
yeah, it has furniture in it. It's has furniture and stuff. It's furniture. Yeah. So here's a condo project. Each page follows the same template type of thing. There's money shot at the top. Here I'm showing kind of sort of the process of how I got to what I got to. On the right side, you can see that's the concept art, and it's in color. But the overall thing of my portfolio is a monochrome. So I kind of sort of just added spots of color. And you go to the second page, I kind of sort of did the same thing. Oh, that's floor plans. It's a really big building. And then you see the wall section. And then at the bottom.
Oh, no, that's a section. It's not a model?
That's a model. That's a model. With my hand at the top. Yeah, it's a model.
Okay.
And then at the bottom, you can see where I did the circle thing again and only pointing out the color and not just, the whole thing in color. Okay,
Random, I'm not looking at it, but I love the fact that you did a wall section.
Thank you.
It was required.
Yeah, it was required.
This is one of my favorite students. I can tell him that now since I don't have them.
Okay, Safe House Project. This is a project from last semester. And
I don't have him anymore. He's no longer my student.
So at the top, money shot again. On the left side, you can see the form. So what I did was the two in white are like preliminary forms, and the one on top in black, that's the one that we ended up going with. So that's how I ordered that. At the top, you can see the sketches, the partee sketches, and at the bottom, you see the section, which maybe need to be labeled section. I don't know. Maybe. I think it kind of, you get the point. Another one. I was debating adding the floor plans, but they're really huge. So if I did, I'd probably add one because I don't want two pages of just floor plans. Oh, go ahead.
Is this the same project?
Yes.
So we just have another title page?
Yes, because I didn't want to leave it blank.
I would leave it
blank page.
I would leave it blank. I wouldn't put blank page on stuff that's blank pages. I would actually do like something small at the bottom that says like page intentionally left blank, if you're gonna do that. Because putting blank page in the same font and format that you have the actual titles takes value away from the titles. So I would just consider like similar to how you have the small titles or whatever saying page intentionally left blank, like in a corner somewhere.
Okay.
And still give the page a number, and just say it's left blank.
Josh, so
yes.
I know you're going for a very monochrome and clean look, but I'm wondering, like you've done with the other images where you have like a little blurb of color. In this rendering, can we get a little blurb of color and maybe some people?
Yeah, I do need to have some people in there. But color-wise, the only reason I did that with the condo project is because color was one of the main points because I did the pattern.
Oh yeah, that was part of your concept.
Can you scroll me up real fast? Because I love the monochromatic vibe. Like I love the vibes of this. I like the setup. I wouldn't be mad again, like we told Tyler, if there was a page where it was just like, here's a bomb ass rendering. Like this rendering is amazing. This is the only thing on the page. Look at it. Bask in the greatness of this rendering, right? Like I wouldn't be mad at that. I also wouldn't be mad if maybe the only other touches of color that you had was maybe it's just a light little brush of green on the trees. Right?
Okay.
Like everywhere where there's a tree, it's just like just like the ever so slightest 20% saturation, watercolor feely splotch, like something that fits graphically with what you have going on, but just a brush of green on your trees, like everywhere that you have a tree, right? So if it's in the axon that you have of the floor plan, or like in the renderings, just a touch, just something else to add a little bit more depth and a little bit more interest, because it's like, okay, we get it. It's black and white. I'm digging it. I just want something else. You know what I mean? It's like eating at your favorite restaurant all the time. Like, yeah, this is good, but I could also really go for something a little bit different. Just give me a little taste.
Please tell me you have more of your sketches in here.
Oh yeah,
that's
they're
what
coming.
I'm looking
They're
for.
coming. They're coming.
You know how
coming.
he's an awesome sketcher.
All right, so that wraps up the Safe House project. Here you have freelance drafting. So this is something that I've started doing on the side. I'll go out and measure these properties, and they'll be used to, just for the owner, I guess, that they want, drawings of the property.
Take off that gradient band. It's not doing anything.
It's not. It's just space, because if I make the floor plan bigger, then the elevations, I'll only be able to fit one elevation.
You don't have to make anything bigger. Negative space is okay.
Okay.
Just we can leave that blank. We won't need it.
All right. Sketches at the top, money shot, and some other sketches on there.
Okay, here's what I want.
Full pages.
I want full pages of these sketches.
Yes.
I want like 3. Yeah, I want full pages of sketches.
Yes, because these were done in Indonesia and other awesome places in the world. Like, come through, Josh.
Yeah, and then I would actually put at the bottom of those, like if like she's saying it's from like you sketched it in Indonesia, put like Indonesia 2019 or whatever the case is. Like just do a humble brag, a nice little quiet flex. Like I'm well traveled and I can draw things. Okay. Again, don't tell me you're good at something. Show me you're good at something. Don't tell me you've like traveled. Show me these things. So that I would say, yeah, let's just a few times, give me a full page of things, especially those sketches, because those are going to leave a lot of negative space and that's going to feel really nice. I get
almost want this as a whole page too, because it's an actual physical model.
Yeah, if you can swing it. I think to a certain extent, the aspect ratio on your pages kind of limits you to what images you can show and show off in what way, right? Because you're sort of limited to the width of that. And it maybe you introduce occasionally a double page that would in the world where this was printed, it would be, an open faced, something on the back of one page, something on the front of the other. But in the world where we're viewing it digitally, it's more of like a square page that gives us a really impactful image, like a full moment. Think about that.
Because if you printed this out and you had a full moment, like she was saying, you can always fold out a page, and then that gives some more depth to your actual portfolio. Like Miss Trish had like folds and things in her portfolio, but it was still a square all the way throughout. It was just broken up into triangles. So maybe your rectangle becomes one full square on one page because it's a fold out, and then we get to see more of the image.
Okay. I kind of like that.
I had a question, Josh. What?
Also a square or a triple. You could go 3 pages if you needed to. It's your world. Just play with things.
Okay.
Continue. Sorry, Alma's question.
What is this 3 hoop-de-woos thing? What is it?
It's architecture ellipsis, gradiating from the bottom to the top.
So what I heard is that you should take it off.
That's what I necessary. Heard.
It's balancing. It's balancing the logo at the top with the bottom.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Negative space is okay.
Negative space is okay.
The name of this album is Negative Space is Okay. We go on tour when the world opens again. As soon as we get out of the Panini, we're going on tour. Negative space is fine. You could pull the word portfolio in your little box. You could pull that down actually so that it's more in the gradient, and then make that whole thing white instead of the gradient going through that text. So pull that whole thing down, make it white, because enough of it will be in dark space, and then just leave the little blank space betwixt the portfolio and your logo situation.
Okay. I like it though, Josh. Overall, you did me proud.
I like the things. I would also, scroll back to the table of contents. So I understand this line that you have right here. I get it. Yep. I see what you were doing, but it doesn't do it. Yeah, it looks like what's that thing called? It looks like you're being redacted, like something's being redacted. Like you're like contents, curse word, can't tell you what it is, top secret. Like it doesn't, because you also don't, like you have that shape as language throughout your portfolio, but you don't have that shape in this way throughout your portfolio. It doesn't do anything when it's right here.
Yeah.
But other than that, I appreciate the confidence. I appreciate the vibrato. I appreciate the stylization. I would say not to put your Tuskegee email address on there. I would actually just go ahead and use your Gmail address if it's professional sounding. Like don't use it if it's like clubstomper2020@hotmail.com. But if it's your name, at gmail.com, go ahead and throw that on there, because maybe I save your portfolio and I see it 6 years from now and you're not in school anymore, but I want to reach out to this kid. Like you no longer have your tuskegee.edu email address. Do we have a resume page on here?
I'm working on it. I'm trying to get it to look like my portfolio.
Perfect. Do that. Throw that thing at the end. But yeah, I appreciate the heavy-handed like stylization, the general energy of it. I'm here for it.
Cool.
I think that's another thing actually for everybody to kind of take into account. Going heavy with your style and really like turning up the volume on certain elements of your portfolio, it actually subtracts from like any weaknesses that you may have, right? Like, because everything is so heavily stylized, we didn't have a chance to notice, like, we didn't even really get into the nitty gritty of the images because they were small, they were quick. This is a whole package, everything goes together. Like, you're kind of overtaken by the feel of it as opposed to looking at the individual images. And it's also, you're only getting like little bites into stuff. So that's something to take in mind. And yes, I need so much more of the sketches. I need more cowbell and I need more sketches on that particular one. Does anybody else want to share? Does anyone else have questions, comments, concerns? Because I will be here on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. And we have lots of people coming to look at these portfolios and resumes and critique you guys. So we want as much opportunity as possible to get you guys as polished as possible by Monday, Tuesday.
I think Journey, did you have something that you wanted to show? So Journey's one of my second year students, but she's also a transfer student. So she has additional stuff, I'm assuming. I don't know. I've just been introduced to the amazing Journey this semester. So come through.
Well, I don't have anything I don't think there'd be anything to really critique because I'm not far enough along, but I can show something, but it's not really.
Just show where you are.
Second consideration is work in progress.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like somebody just do.
It's Elijah. I did it. I pressed the button.
So I only have this so far. I'm planning on having 3 projects in it right now.
Mm-hmm.
This is all I have for my cover page as of right now. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Quick question. Your scale on the bottom, because last time I was there, I saw a lot of bar charts and graphs.
Okay.
What is this schedule? Like, what is that telling me? Is that your skill levels you're saying on a proficiency scale?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Who's judging that?
Oh, me. For now.
I think that's fine. I feel like I see that everywhere. So I think that's okay.
That's always been a question for me.
Yeah. One thing I do, well, I know, because I was talking to somebody yesterday and they're like, oh, I am excellent at Revit. And I was like, okay, great. Well, then do this thing. Oh, I don't know how to do that. Okay, what about this? Oh, I don't know how to do that. Okay, how about this? Oh, I don't know how to. All right, you know what? So you're not as excellent as you said you were. But anyways, neither here nor there. I love this.
Real quick, I can add something to that. You can go on LinkedIn for some of this stuff and take a quick LinkedIn proficiency in one of these things and let that be your, person certifying your stuff.
Okay.
Just another way that you can, streamline, because that's a great point. Like, just because you say you're great, that don't mean that you're great.
Right.
You're just great among people who crap. So,
right.
Looking at some of these things, real quick stuff, do 10 minutes and they certify you, give you a little badge or something. And that can be another way to cross-reference between, say, this portfolio.
Okay.
Is this a rendering?
No, this is not. I was going to put a picture of... I have pictures from a STEM program that I was in Brazil. And I was looking for pictures from there to add onto my cover page. But this is the picture that I have for now.
So what is this?
This is just a random picture right now.
Oh, okay.
I'm about to say this is
I was about to be
like,
girl, if you did this,
this
needs to be your front page. This needs to be your back page. This needs to be on all the page. Okay, continue.
Okay.
Next, don't get me hyped now. Please don't get me hyped.
Okay, so the next page I was going to do my resume, and then I was going to do my what's it called, my projects in chronological order. So I was going to get some of my projects from Maryland and add that here.
The thing that I will say about chronological order is that nobody cares when you did it. So Don't necessarily think that you should do things in chronological order. You should do things in order of kick-assness. Like this is super bomb, and so I'm putting it first, and then get gradually less bomb. And
Okay.
that is for everyone. Like you should lead with your strong hand. Like lead with the stuff that's going to make me look and want more. Don't show me something that you did in first year that I no longer really care about, that you no longer even really like. Like lead with your strong hand.
Right. Okay. And then just skipping through. This is the Tuskegee Library project that I'm still adding. I'm still going to add my model. I need to retake a picture of my model. And then I'm going to do another watercolor painting from a different angle, probably a axonometric
Okay.
picture from the back so you can see more of the actual library.
So let me say this.
Okay.
If these are the size, I know you're working on this. So we'll just say if these are the sizes of your images, no. Like
Okay.
it's way too small. And I think again, negative space is okay. Err on the side of if they're strong, like if you blew this up, it would look good, then err on the side of like just giving us big, amazing images. Like take your watercolor, and I love a good watercolor. Take your watercolor and stylize it a little bit more, bleed out those edges, soften it in Photoshop, like make stuff pop.
Okay.
Make it pop, make it feel like a package.
Okay. And then just moving on. Then I'm gonna have a drawing page and a sketch page. This is my first page of this thing that I've done by myself. So these are drawings I've done with charcoal and then pencil or whatever. And then I have this one also. And that's all I have right now. But yeah, I need to finish this.
Hmm. Yeah, and I would say don't be afraid to get into Photoshop and clean up sketches, stylize stuff, make it pop, make it sing, make it dance,
Okay.
because that will sell.
Okay.
And the sketches are quirky and fun.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm very emotionally confused by this eyeball mustache
Right.
That's
nose
the one I was
There's
ring.
looking at.
people,
Yeah, my mom.
people inside the eyeball. Like if you
Yeah, I
look at the
didn't see
iris,
that.
Gross.
It's a picture that I drew in the 8th grade and I wanted to redraw it to see like how far my art has come. So I just did that one over the past break. But yeah, I don't know why I drew it in 8th grade, but yes.
Yeah, you were weird, but I like it.
Really, Alana?
I mean, we got a mustache, we got a lot happening, but I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I'm
We have
trying
two
to
nose rings, a
I love
mustache.
this one.
The
It's
only
an
thing I'll say is
eyeball.
catch that shadow. So you
Okay.
see
Yeah.
that you take that photo
Oh
again,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
position, get
Yeah,
the
that's what I
shadow
was
out of
saying.
it.
Clean it up in Photoshop for
Okay.
sure.
Or just redo it, because unfortunately, depending on how your skill set is, you'll spend more time playing in Photoshop. You can just retake that shot if you have it.
Yeah, I could easily retake the shot.
If you ask
Okay.
Mr. Daniels really nicely, though, he might show you how to Photoshop it because Mr. Daniels is, I mean, excuse me, Dr.
Dr.
Daniels
Daniel.
is beg my pardon. I beg my pardon. I'm sorry. Is an OG, is an OG at the Photoshops.
Okay.
Yeah, I can show you some things.
I'm over here crying.
And also that sketch, I can't tell. There's a shadow. It looks like there's a shadow on it, almost like you took a picture through a like a fence or something.
Yeah.
Just be careful. Like, make sure when you take these shots, a person is seeing exactly what you want them to see, not
Okay.
stuff that's has absolutely nothing to do with your work.
Right. Okay.
And don't be afraid to blow these up. I mean, the thing about the portfolio is you want somebody to have a conversation with you.
Hmm.
If you're small, I'm not gonna have a conversation with you. I'm gonna nitpick everything about it.
Yeah.
So if you got some dope work and you know you spent a lot of time on it and you think somebody will appreciate it because they can get into some of the details on it, blow that thing up and let it ride. And now have a conversation about that. It eliminates a lot of the time that you'll spend trying to format a whole lot of stuff. Grab, as has already been noted, grab some of your greatest work, and the fact that you can do stuff by hand, the fact that you can do watercolor. I mean, these are literally dying arts, especially as we're going over to technology more.
Mm.
So anything that you have that you can do by hand and you can do it well, highlight that. It will speak volumes to folks who appreciate that stuff.
And also, as you all get further along into things, this is kind of what I was saying, like when I mentioned refine, like going back and redoing things. Don't don't be beholden to one medium either. Like if you can sketch and you also know Photoshop and you also know Lumion, like don't be afraid to layer, something that you did in Lumion with a sketch, with a water, like some of the most dynamic like images that I've created or been a part of creating, it's like, oh, well, we have this watercolor thing here, and then somebody hand sketched it, and we're going to put it together in Photoshop, and now our floor plans look watercolored, and like now we have these dynamic images that came from like three different places, right, that we've sort of compiled together. So refine and use all of your skills, right? Like if you have a rendering of a space and or a rendering of an exterior and you can't find the right clouds and the clouds in the picture, that forget it, throw that away and do a like scribble sketch over a picture of the background and just sketch out the trees and the high points and the sky and then lay your rendering into that, right? Like don't be afraid to layer things and experiment and try new things and go heavy with the style and heavy with the flavor, because that's what's going to set you apart. Like one person's rendering from SketchUp looks like the next person's looks like the next person's. That's great. Everybody knows how to do SketchUp. Whoop-de-doo. But do you have style? Do you have a point of view? Do you have something to say? Say that, and that's something to talk about. But like if you're just showing me that you can do Photoshop or you can do SketchUp, that's great. But like give me your point of view in your images.
Okay.
She made me want to go do my portfolio over again. It was so beautiful.
Girl, it's so much fun.
Oh my
Portfolio
gosh.
time, those were the days.
That's why I'm sitting here looking at this portfolio from freshman years. Like I ain't sketched nothing in about 10 years.
Girl, who has? Who has?
I
Like,
painted over the Corona, the panini,
mm,
because my stress level was. But that's beside the point. Let me.
I'm about to say yeah. So are there any more questions from you guys? I mean, we're here for you to answer questions.
Yes, I have another question. Okay. So I have like three architecture projects. So I'm gonna also add like some sketches. Like I do acrylic painting, spray painting, like graffiti art, and I do like some sketches maybe every now and then. But how much would be too much of like to where it's like your portfolio isn't really an architecture portfolio? It's now begun to be, like just your art. Like would you know what I mean?
I don't think anybody would be offended by a portfolio that is primarily art.
Okay, so that's what I was wondering. I don't want to like add too much, of
Because
course, and go too far with it.
aren't you second year or something
Yeah, I'm
like that?
second year.
Yeah, so nobody's going to expect that you've designed a football stadium in your second year. Nobody is expecting an office building from you. We want to see like your talent in general.
Okay, see that's what I'm just making sure.
Yeah.
Ask the questions while I'm here.
Give us the sexy graphic. I do graphics. Because if somebody has those talents as a baseline, they can take those talents. I can take a person with a strong artistic skill set and apply it to architecture. But if you don't have a strong skill set, there's nothing for me to apply.
Okay, I see what you're
Does that
saying.
make sense?
Yeah.
So show me, like especially for your level, like show me your skill set, because that's going to be what's intriguing. So I just wanted to show this as like an example of like a hybrid stylized floor plan, right? So it's like a hand-drawn sketch of a guest room. And then this was not on watercolor paper. That's just a watercolor paper texture. And then the watercolor that you see on like the floor plan and the background and everything, or just little miscellaneous watercolor blobs that were then photoshopped on. And like there's just subtle shadowing. It's just like it's like, what is this, like a 4 or 5 layers to create like a really fun, soft graphic that fits with the style of everything else that we have in this presentation. There's poems, more floor plans. The renderings are bad. We're not going to talk about the renderings. Those were not my thing. Like, we wrote little stories for this. Again, like that same kind of watercolor hybrid, like some stuff is from Photoshop, some stuff is hand drawn, some stuff is like it's all about like the layering and the softness to kind of tell this story about this upscale, luxurious, green and lush space. Like, wrote a little poem. I wrote a lot of little poems for this. But yeah, this is just a quick, like, but you can see like all of the graphics kind of have that similar style. All of the imagery, it's in the same kind of color family. And this is for one project. Again, ignore the renderings. That wasn't me. Don't blame that on me. Sorry. Again, this is like one project, like telling a story and pulling together graphics that all sort of lend itself. Again, ignore the renderings. Can't say that
And
enough.
it reads boutique hotel.
Exactly. Like we've got our floor plan, you've got your trees and greenery, and the area of town that this is in is really lush and green. And so we wanted our presentation to reflect that like lush greenness and shade and shadow, the softness of hand sketches, blah, blah, blah. Watercolor, even though I never picked up a watercolor brush to do this, but you can't tell that. It's just Photoshop. Yeah. That's all I got. Questions, comments, other ideas? Anybody else have a portfolio they want us to look at?
I was hoping to get some of the upperclassmen. Apparently, they work on Saturday or are in church. So I'm going to folk out Bible studies, apparently.
Well, praise the Lord.
Amen.
What are we doing on Saturday? Making tacos?
Yes, sure enough.
Hiding down the hill by Booker T. Washington.
Girl, going to the Walmart in Auburn.
Planning parties.
Right.
Are there any other questions? Because the three of us will reminisce.
I have a couple of comments if one of you guys are ready.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So like I feel like you have to be able to think about the difference between subjectivity and when somebody is like, give like not everything is good advice, but the difference between being subjective to somebody's portfolio or to your portfolio and giving advice that's good across the board for like first year students. So if I go talk to Ms. Asamoah, she might like something about my portfolio, but I go talk to Mr. Daniels, he might tell me something different. So is you have to develop this sense of, is that just subjective? Is it just her? Or is it, is that the right move I need to make? And that goes back to, having your own style. So when you believe in your own style, it's your style. Nobody can tell you, hey, don't do that. But, if you like it and it looks good, keep going with it. Just because I go to HKS and they don't like my portfolio doesn't mean HOK might not like my portfolio. You know what I mean? So that's kind of my philosophy behind it. Yeah. So that's my advice. Basically, just be yourself.
Thank you, Mr. Gordon. We appreciate your comments. Very true. Would any of the other second years like to post up? Mr. Centron, I see you're on here. Do you want to put up what you have so far? Get some feedback on what you can do to make it stronger? Elijah? I swear they just be having their phones on.
That's possible.
Do you have any tips? Because some of the second years are just going to be putting together, what you call it? What's it called? Work samples instead of full portfolios.
So like like a project brief.
Yes.
I think the same kind of things hold true for those. It's like, don't be afraid to like front load. You don't have to present your project in the way that you would present it if you were presenting it in studio, right? Like, here's my floor plan, here's my elevation, here's my rendering. Like, we don't need you to check all of the boxes. We need to see what you're good at and quickly. Right. So if your sketches are really great, lead with your sketches, like start and maybe finish with a sketch and give it a full page. Because maybe your floor plans aren't that great, but if you focus on like really focus on pulling people's attention to what's really good, that would be for projects, for individual project briefs. I would highlight those things personally.
I have a student who just sent me, Derek is at work, but he was listening in. He wants you guys to look over his portfolio. He just sent me a link. I'm trying to get it uploaded to my drive now. Anyone else have the things that they would like to show, or
Questions, comments, anything?
resumes, anything like that? Go ahead, Mr. Danes.
One comment for folks is just another way to think about the what the portfolio can do for you. Curtis Jones from SCB 2 years ago wound up having this like impromptu sketching exercise with students that are currently fourth year students. And it was an amazing experience because when he saw that some students actually were doing sketching, and it may have been Josh who encouraged it, but the fact that he saw that students were sketching, it prompted him to pull out his sketchbook and show his traveling case of watercolors and markers that he's like, I keep this with me all the time and I'm sketching. And it became this teaching moment. The thing you should realize is when you have these firms that are coming, many of them are more excited about helping you get along than you realize. And so they're really trying to see the best that you bring to the table so they can add some more to your repertoire. That's really the value of the career fairs that we do. It's within the context of how we do our teaching. So anybody who's coming along, they're alums like Miss Trish, Miss Hosey, or they are friends of the school, and they understand that it's all about helping you get to your greatest self. So, put your best foot forward. If it's you coming to the career fair with just a dope rendering, hey, this is what I have. Bring something, that way the world knows what you're bringing to the table, and they can judge you accordingly.
Facts. Yeah, we did a NOMA portfolio resume review critique, and this one student got on with no pictures and just wanted like nothing to show, but just wanted to tell us about all of these things that he could do and wanted to do. I can tell you that I want to do anything, but you need to see it. Like, we need to talk about it. So show us something. Don't come empty-handed. Anything is better than nothing.
This is Derek Stroud's portfolio. He's going to try and break away from wherever he is at work so he can hear your feedback. Come on, computer, do the things. Nope, that's not what I want to happen. Ugh.
Derek is from Detroit, right?
Eric is from the ATL
Oh,
Shoddy.
okay. Getting all these kids mixed up.
All right, this is a better situation. Can y'all see this better now?
Mm-hmm.
Derek also does a lot of photography, so I'm hoping that that's included. Yay.
Okay.
Mike says thank you. Trish had to get off. All right. So just trying to get this all on one screen. I think he did an 8x8 format.
Okay. So he needs to reformat the way that he saved it.
What do you mean by reformatted? Be more
Because,
explicit.
okay, like scroll back up. You see how that is getting chopped off for what's on the
Yes.
second page? So like making that a spread instead of an individual page if he's doing this in InDesign.
Okay.
Because I ain't about to work to read that. I'm not doing it.
Gotcha. Derek Schrood. How do we feel about this very light on this gray background?
I mean, I can't really read the plan.
Mhm.
I can't really read it. And if that's your ground, scroll back up. Sorry. Okay, so that is that floor plan.
Mhm.
I would swap those, make them legible, and make a point to say, actually, no, I would take off that interior floor plan and just blow up that quote unquote site plan so that you can read the floor plan as a part of the overall and not even give us that other floor plan.
Okay.
What year is he?
He is now 4th year, but this is not his best rendering work for sure.
Yeah, again, that would be a front load with your best work.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like this is a chronological order type situation.
Yeah, like that rendering, the cars read more than the buildings and the people are blue, and I don't know what
Mm-hmm.
this is trying to tell me necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's keep going.
This is distorted. More trees. I'm not sure what this is.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so overall thoughts and comments. I would tell him to take those pictures out of here forever, but nobody listens to me.
Yeah. I would take the pictures of the people out. Um, I think that.
I feel like this is not his strongest work at all.
Okay. Well, you know what he has to present. So, yeah, maybe talk with him about what he's presenting. Maybe this isn't the right portfolio. Because it's fourth year. If you're fourth year,
Mm-hmm.
I'm expecting more than this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the thing about showing photography in your portfolio, and it may be because I went to Tuskegee, so I have seen campus and I've seen all those buildings. Like, there's this one photographer that I follow, and they post these pictures of places that I have been 10,000 times.
Mm-hmm.
And it, like, every time he posts a picture, I'm like, oh my God, I could never intend. How did he capture that? Like, how did he, like, where was he standing? How did he just luck upon this amazing image of this place that I've seen 10,000 times?
Right.
So if you're gonna have photography in your portfolio, it needs to be dynamic. I don't know why this architecture portfolio is in a circle. There's a lot happening here, and I think it just needs some stuff.
Yeah, like he was on the NOMA competition team and everything, and I'm not sure why that's not here, but maybe he hasn't updated it yet. Maybe it's the wrong portfolio. Who knows? But this is what he sent me.
Okay.
Well, I thank you.
Yeah. Well, again, super fun. I always enjoy talking to students, and want everyone to shine, man. I want y'all to want you guys to win. I'm just a nobody trying to get everybody a job. That's, even if it's not with HKS, I want everyone to be gainfully employed, highly marketable, all of the things. That's it. That's all I got.
Thank you, Ms. Hosey, for your time. This was amazing, as per always. And I told the students that weren't able to make it to email you and Cam. I know AIS did have a portfolio workshop earlier in the week, so they went over some things with the students, and those were like really dynamic renderers in that group that presented there. So I was hoping they would be on today, but they had other obligations apparently. So yeah, this was good. This was very helpful. Love that you talked about aspect ratios and perspective, and the use of negative space, because it's great that you're reiterating things that they are learning but don't necessarily apply, because I think they just kind of like tune my voice out after a while. So thank you.
That's what we're here for.
You're amazing. All right, students, you know how to reach Ms. Hosey or Ms. Trish Jones if necessary. And I look forward to seeing everybody on Monday. Keep a lookout in your emails for schedules, for the schedules for Monday stuff. All right.
Yeah. All right. You have like 2 seconds to stay on and talk about Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, great.
All right, students, y'all can leave. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
And thank you, Ms. Hosey and Ms. Trish. I know she had to step off, but I just want to say thank you on behalf of the department. It's always great when we have alums coming back. As a former professor of y'all, awesome. I mean, I'm like beaming over here. I have like 3 of my former students like killing it. It's just amazing to see folks paying it forward. So
Absolutely.
always appreciate y'all.
You helped shape us, Dr. Daniels. You helped make us the designers, the nitpickers that we are today. Because Lord knows you used to
Ain't that
eat
the
our
truth?
presentations alive.
Like, yo, what is this, yo? What is this? You're like, drawing.
It was pretty.
You hurt my feelings. Dr. Bell told me put some clouds on it. I thought it was fine.
Hey, y'all make my job easy. I ain't gotta say nothing now. I just sit back like, yep. I was gonna say that, but no, I ain't gotta say nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it worked out.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And then can we? I guess we can link up like 4:30 or something. I mean, I got some new updates for Zoom.
Sounds great.
All right, I'll meet you on that link.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Okay,
Yes.
see, I feel like Elijah is just not at his computer. Oh yeah, are you still recording? Are you still broadcasting us?
Let me start recording. Hold on. I did that the other day, and my students were like, Miss Asamoah, you have to trim the end of the video because you had a whole phone call. I was like, oh, my bad.
You got to be more careful.
Girl,